let's go down to our paragraph for this video. I'm going to get rid of the font size. I'm going to take it back to, we'll leave it there. What the heck. Let's start by indenting our paragraphs, because by default everything is block aligned to the left here. So let's do that. For my paragraph, I can set a text indent, and I can tell it how far. Let's go 3 EM, 3 standard character widths. See what happens. There we go. And I get a text indent. So that's how you would get a paragraph to be more traditionally indented. Also, this is kind of hard to read because the lines are pretty close together. So let's do another setting here. Make this, I think by default, web browsers use a 1 EM or a 1.2 EM for line height. So let's set our line height. I'm going to set it to 1.5 EM to start with, and we'll see where it goes from there. We are going to watch some design videos that will give us better settings to use for these, because we're programmers. We're not really designers, so our eyes may not be everything they should be. So we'll get some guidelines going, but we'll talk about design in a separate video. So let's just set line height to 1.5 EM. That puts a little bit more spacing between the line height. So I have a 1.25 font size with a 1.5. That gives me an extra 0.25 higher on my line than my font size, and it spreads apart the lines a little bit so they're easier to read. I take this back to 1 EM. I like that. That's pretty easy to read. This is still pretty gaudy up here looking, but we're just kind of playing around to see what the different settings are we can use, so that's okay. Let's do font style. Font dash style, and let's set it to italic. The entire paragraph to italic. There's a bad idea, but we're going to do it anyway to see how we can set the font style on any element. And there we go. Our whole paragraph turned into italic. We can do font style. We could also do bold. Actually, if you ever start wondering what you can do. So if I type B, look at all these options I have. The bold, italic. Let's keep italic for now. Our font weight. Let's do font. W-E-I-G-H-T. We're going to set it to normal. That's what it actually is right now, is normal. Okay. Let's set our font weight. The other options for font weight are bold. That's probably a better place to use that instead of style. So there's a bold font. There's also a light. So let's set it to a light font, which is smaller than normal. And then here's normal again. Every font may not have all the settings. I want to do one more thing here. Let's move this font family. Let's put it down here. So we have a lot of different font things here. We have font family, font style, font weight, font size. Anytime we see one of these properties that is some word with a dash and then a whole bunch of different options, there's usually a shortcut built in. So let's do this as a shortcut. So before I do, I'm going to leave these up here so I can do them. I can say something like font colon, and I can specify it has to be in a particular order. The style comes first, so I'm going to do italic. Space, I'm going to use normal font weight. I'm going to use 1.2 EM for the size. Notice there's spaces between these. Then I'm going to specify Arial, Helvetica, and sans serif. For the font family. And now I can leave these all out. Okay. Now I did change my fonts here. So you will see the font change on this. But I specified all 4 things by naming one font property, and the 4 separated by spaces, and obviously the font families are separated by commas here. Let's see how it worked. Okay, so there we go. So it's italics, normal weight, 1.2 EMs, it's slightly bigger, and it's using Arial, Helvetica, or sans serif for the font now. That's the font shorthand property.